The new show House of David has become a surprise success on Amazon Prime, making it to the top of the streaming charts and really bringing the Bible into the mainstream movie and TV culture. I already made a video talking about the first 3 episodes, talking about how impressed I was with the high quality production and God-centered storytelling. Ever since that, I've been watching each new episode each week and I'm still really loving the show. But looking through the audience reactions online, I noticed there is a problem with House of David. And it's not about the show, but it's about how certain Christian audiences have been talking about the show. I'm afraid that many Christians focus on biblical accuracy and the purpose of a show like this in a really wrong way. In this video, I'm gonna give you kind of my 2 cents on why I think this is a very important show, not just for Christians, but for the overall film industry and some of the problematic views a lot of Christians have on creativity. If you're new to this channel, my name is Alex. I'm a freelance filmmaker. I have over 10 years of experience in film and content production, and I've written, directed and produced numerous award-winning short films. On this channel, I talk about the intersection of Christianity and filmmaking. I want to help you discover the presence of God in movies. So before we get into this, these are just my thoughts, and I don't think they are the most productive thoughts. What I think is that what the filmmakers actually have to say about the show is the most interesting thing. I am currently working on getting the creator of House of David, John Irwin, on this channel to talk about his approach to Christian filmmaking. So the main thing that gets Christians upset with the House of David, just like it always did with The Chosen, is biblical accuracy. I get it, nobody wants to see a show that butchers scripture, but it seems to me that people have kind of blurred the line between making creative decisions with a film and show that adapts the Bible and completely butchering scripture. At the top of every episode of House of David, we have a text that explains why they have made some changes to the original scripture because of creative freedom. Still, a lot of Christian audience members treat House of David, like The Chosen, like these shows have been made to replace the Bible. Nothing could ever replace scripture, and the purpose of a TV show and a movie isn't to replace or repeat something that has been already made. The moment you adapt text into visuals, you will lose some things and you will have to add some things. This just comes with the territory, because you transfer one idea from one medium to another, and this doesn't happen because filmmakers want to change scripture. It's like saying DaVinci or Rembrandt paintings have changed scripture because they added some elements into the scenes or facial expressions that weren't explained in the Bible. I listened to a really great discussion John Irwin and Dallas Jenkins had about their approach to making changes to scripture while writing their screenplays, and it really sounded to me like they were very thoughtful with that. One of the most controversial moments in House of David is the scene where, also a lot of people commented this under my first review, where David gets hit by a spear from Goliath in the big battle scene. This wasn't in the original text, but the scripture also doesn't say that something like this didn't happen at all. And arguing like this may sound weird to some of you, but please hear me out. Scripture tells us a lot about real events, but not everything about them. Consider the Last Supper scene, for example. The image many of us have when we think about the Last Supper is DaVinci's interpretation of that scene, like the rectangular table, like everything's symmetrical, Jesus in the middle, the apostle to his left and right hand side. Now, where exactly does the Bible say that it was a rectangular table that looked like this? Where does it say how the room looked? Or how it was lit, or how exactly Jesus and the apostles were seated around the table. I don't think scripture tells us any of that. But as soon as you want to depict this scene in a painting, these details in the text suddenly become a major part of the visual composition. This is where an artist needs to make things up. A good artist will go ahead and do some research, look deeper into the source material and try to find clues as to how this scene what this scene probably looked like. You could also go ahead and study architecture from that time, study the way light falls into interiors in the Middle East, how the rooms look like, or just lit with candles, and so on. Like, find out things like that, and then base your creative decision on the research you made. All these things make up the quality of a work of art. They are all just creative decisions from the hand of the artist. Nobody talks about DaVinci changing scripture when he turned the Last Supper into the iconic painting. DaVinci had the Apostle John sitting right on Jesus' right-hand side, most probably because he wanted to highlight a certain observational detail that he, as Da Vinci, interpreted while reading the scripture. Now, would the painting be different if he had Apostle John sitting at the other end of the table? Absolutely. Would the Last Supper be fundamentally changed because of that? Absolutely not. The only thing that a creative decision like this would change is Da Vinci's painting and his interpretation of the scene that he is trying to present to us. Now, it would be way different if Da Vinci decided to just leave some apostles out of the picture, or change the setting of the Last Supper to the outside, or make the apostle like sit on the ground instead of at the table, or have them eat honey instead of bread. Changes like these would make some significant changes to the truth of the event. I think we can all agree on these observations and things while talking about Da Vinci and paintings in general. Now, the creative process behind filmmaking is basically the same as behind a painting, but just much more complicated. You have visuals, you have sound, you have a whole lot of technical decisions you need to make, but the overall process is still the same creative process. So coming back to House of David right here, we do need to look into everything the filmmakers change from scripture, but we always need to ask ourselves, does this communicate the same truth as in the scripture or not? David getting hit by a spear in his fight with Goliath may not be in the scripture, but does it really change the truth of the situation? You see, I think when it comes to biblical accuracy in movie adaptations like TV shows like this, the line between really making significant changes and only making creative decisions is much more objective than subjective. Biblical accuracy in a TV show means next to nothing if the show itself isn't moving, thought-provoking, creative, and an overall good watch. Now, this doesn't mean that for the sake of creativity and entertainment, you want to make some major changes to scripture that make this into something that it really isn't. But it also doesn't mean that every single creative choice filmmakers can make while adapting the Bible into a piece of art is heretical. So if you have an issue with seeing the Bible being adapted in TV shows and movies, that's fair. But in a lot of cases, it's not the filmmaker's fault, but just a personal problem. Like, I personally don't enjoy watching Jesus movies. Like, I don't enjoy watching actors acting like Jesus, but I can admit that some actors do a better job, some actors do a worse job with that. At the end of the day, I don't enjoy watching it one way or the other, because it's not a rewarding experience for me personally. Shows like House of David have so much to offer to us. Not only can a series like this show us a unique POV on scripture the way a preacher can with a sermon, but they can also honor scripture through beauty and creativity. And for those of us who just love movies, love TV shows, it can just be beautiful content that represents what we believe in and the God that we believe in an epic way. So what do you think about House of David? Let us continue the conversation in the comments below. I thank you so much for watching my video right here. I wish you all a blessed day and hope to have you back in the next one.